This is Eric Zott's first visit to Berlin in years, a trip in decades past he would not have been free to embark on. His time trapped in the infamous Colonia Dignidad cult has left him traumatized, not least because of the torture he was subjected to.
Colonia Dignidad remains something that I can never forget. Attitudes towards it have improved today, as has the will to investigate what happened. But the experience is there and will stay forever.
Zott was among those who openly challenged Chilean leader Augusto Pinochet. Critics of the dictator were swiftly rounded up, and Colonia Dignidad was among the regime's torture centers where they were held. The commune had been founded by German immigrants in 1961. The cult's leader, Paul Schäfer, brainwashed adults and sexually abused their children. Isolated from the rest of Chile, the inhabitants were essentially reduced to slave labor, while the colony's basement saw appalling atrocities.
The electric shocks never ended, and for a long time without them even asking questions. I suppose the point was to break any last remaining emotional or physical resistance.
Eric Zott came to Berlin last week at the invitation of the German government, together with other victims. Many of them accused the authorities of West Germany and then unified Germany of turning a blind eye to the reports about Colonia Dignidad. German Foreign Minister Frank-Walter Steinmeier has acknowledged that mistakes were made.
The embassy failed to insist that German nationals, which the majority of Colonia's residents were, be allowed to speak to consular officials. The Foreign Office and the embassy lost their way in a conflict of interests, maintaining sound relations with the host country and protecting human rights.
Not the apology victims had been hoping for, but the German government will now be declassifying files on the colony. Eric Zott is happy to see Berlin now taking these steps.
I value what the minister said. I think it's a new start on this front.
Not all of the victims invited to Berlin see things that way, however.
What's missing is an undertaking to compensate us. I left the colony a decade ago, and we're still waiting.
And they're waiting for the perpetrators to be punished. Hartmut Hopp was Paul Schäfer's number 2 in Colonia Dignidad. Also head of the hospital, he's said to have used psychiatric drugs to pacify residents. In 2011, the Chilean authorities sentenced Hopp to 5 years in prison for aiding and abetting the sexual abuse of minors. But he'd already fled the country for Germany. His citizenship here has protected him from extradition so far.
There's been very little progress in terms of prosecutions in Chile, and practically nothing in Germany. Some of the perpetrators of Colonia Dignidad are fugitives who have been sentenced in Chile. People like Hartmut Hopp have fled to Germany to escape justice, while investigators here are not doing enough, in my opinion.
Born in Chile, Eric Zott now lives in Austria. His entire time in Colonia was as a prisoner of the Chilean secret police. The least he hopes for is that one of the culprits from back then shows remorse.
If just somebody would say sorry for something, that would mean a lot to me. We all deserve something like that.
Colonia Dignidad is now known as Villa Baviera, and that rebranding as a Bavarian village includes bizarre attempts to attract tourists, with events including a Munich-style beer festival. The colony is currently home to around 150 people, with perpetrators and victims living as next-door neighbours. Nothing, neither a museum nor even a commemorative plaque, now reminds visitors of the horrors this place witnessed.